You're listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo! My compliments, little lady.
Commercial!
Break for 30 seconds.
You are now listening to BaaD Radio.
Hello and welcome to BaaD Radio. BaaD stands for Business at a Distance. This is a show about local businesses and business networking. We are here in the News Radio WFLA Orlando studios from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. I am your host, Angela Smarito, and in studio with me we have our producer, Melissa Fox.
How you doing?
Love the applause. And I'd like to introduce Melissa Jacob with Striking Brand.
Hello.
She is our co-host. Don't make me giggle. It was so good. That one was like more, like
for it.
Personalized.
Those are my interns.
I'll take them.
Yeah.
Melissa is our co-host and our videographer. So if you go to baadradio.com, you can see all the previous episodes of BaaD Radio.
Oh, yeah.
Love it. Yep. And then if you go to strikingbrand.com, you can see all of Melissa's other work because she is a photographer as well as a videographer. Please join me in welcoming Derick Brown with Certified Mortgage Advisor to the show.
Thank you.
Oh, I was like, he's not going to get applause? Rude.
So this is, all right, keeps going and going. This is Derick's first time on the radio, so we're excited.
Oh, all together, the radio.
He's a radio virgin.
Nice.
Correct.
Quiet.
Correct.
Yeah.
Cricket noise.
This portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Frogger's Bar and Grill. Looking for a place to go with friends or meet new ones? Then you're looking for Frogger's Grill and Bar. With 4 great locations, there's bound to be one near you. Come with friends or bring the family for some food and fun. And don't miss out on Frogger's amazing menu where everything is fresh, never frozen. Oviedo, Mount Dora, Apopka, and Altamont Springs. Frogger's, hopping with food and fun. And I think I've decided on Frogger's, possibly Oviedo, for the BaaD anniversary.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
because I talked to him. I mean, it made sense. He's a sponsor,
Mm-hmm.
right? And because we talked about this last week, is where we, a location for it, and they sponsor the show, and they have a great venue,
Right.
and they just redid Oviedo.
I was about to say, didn't they just remodel that one? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be nice.
Yes. So next up, we have the networking news, and it is brought to you by Symphonic CBD, which is a branch of Live Your Best Life, and they are both advocates for Green Compass Global. Green Compass products are USDA, organic, lab-tested, non-GMO, made in the USA, and cruelty-free. CBD products are a key to making calmness a habit, and they also have CBD for our fur babies. And they work wonderfully because we use them on Roxy, our Shiba Inu. She's getting up there in age, and she gets a little fidgety now. But you can find Symphonic CBD on Instagram at symphonic.cbd.
Does she get like that? Sorry, during thunderstorms and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how mine is.
Yeah,
She started getting like
thunderstorms, like obviously fireworks, but they never used to phase her at all. And now, like I said, because I looked it up, I'm like, as dogs age, I think it has to do with like their senses start to get not as good, and so they get nervous about stuff. Do you have any animals?
We have 2 cats.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
We have 2 cats too. They don't give a crap about nothing.
I have to bring her into. That's a cat, though. I have to bring my pup into a room that has like one of those box fans that drowns out the noise of thunderstorms. Anytime it's stormy, I'm like, I have to bring her to a specific room so she can't hear it.
Roxy walks around in pants. She just gets real nervous. So, but they work really good. And she loves them. It's like giving her. I feel like I'm giving her a treat. Mhm.
Nice.
So, what do we got for networking news today?
Okay, for networking news this time, we're going to talk about some misconceptions with networking. So, if you just started a business or you're not into networking, some things that maybe you think it is or have in your head that we want to correct. So the first thing is it's all about collecting business cards. So I don't know if you've been to any networking things where people are just handing out cards. They're not really
I have.
talking.
Yeah.
How does that really go? Like, what do you do with those cards?
I pile them on my desk.
They eventually, 1 year later, will go in the trash.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
1 year, I paid somebody to organize them all, and I had a beautiful spreadsheet that I could do, search, find,
nice.
and like garage door openers and stuff like that. But for the most part, I've been to networking events that's all it was. You walk in the room, you're fresh meat. People make beeline for you, and then it's a hard sell. So that is something. But since I've gotten more and more into networking, I know which are the networking places that I need to go that are going to be much more than that.
Yeah. And honestly, I have a couple people have done this trick, and I kind of been doing the same thing. It's good to have business cards, but a lot of times if you find somebody you really want to connect with, if they ask you for a card, even if you have them, I just say, I don't have any, but I can put my phone number in your phone right now. So you're there at that time.
I like it.
Put the phone number in there. And a pro tip too, you can take a picture with them, or hey, can you just take 2 seconds? I'm going to take a picture real quick and use that as their contact. So you can do it all or of yourself, whatever.
That's
and
put
put it in
sly.
their phone.
I love it.
So then it's guaranteed they're in your phone. I mean, those dot
like
things, what are they called? You know what I'm talking about? Where you can just kind of scan it.
Like digital
or
business
tap it.
cards, but it's like some type of
like this
card or
one here?
tile. Or
Yeah.
That's right. Mary Ann had all of those.
Yeah.
iHeart gave them to all you guys, didn't they?
Only the
the
ones that are
QR code you can
important.
scan.
Yeah, or some you can just like tap your phone, and then
Yep.
those are really convenient too. So that way you know that you're in it.
If
They're
you
also-
collect a bunch of business cards and then you don't do anything with it, I think you're in the wrong room. Like if you were to give me your business card and I want to reach out to you, I'm going to. It's all about follow up.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So it sounds like you collected business cards for the sole purpose of collecting business cards.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I have to tell you though, I still like getting a business card. I do. I like, because I still like being able to have it in front of me and look at it and look at the front, look at the back, look at you. I do. I'm still
You want something tangible.
yeah, I do. But I'm old. I'm like, so that makes it's a generational thing, I think.
Especially if they're nice, though.
I
if
do
they're
like
nice,
a good
it's-
business card.
I'm like, oh, okay. They put some thought into that. So the next thing is that networking is only for extroverts. Really, this is what I've heard. I'm an introvert. I am not naturally loving to talk to a group of strangers.
But she's fine getting on the radio talking
This is
to thousands and thousands
This
of
is
people.
different. I'm just talking to you guys, really. But being an introvert, I have heard, is better. It can be better because you're more prone to listen and take in more information than just talking about yourself. So you have the opportunity to make possibly deeper connections with people.
Yes. And I mean, I'm not an introvert. I'm an extrovert, but sometimes I don't
Same.
like big networking groups either. I get overwhelmed with all the sound, and it gets too much for me sometimes. So I actually sometimes prefer smaller groups of people,
That's
to be honest with you.
Same. I mean, when I did a one-to-one with Derick, and in the email, I visited his chapter, and I was like, hey, I loved your chapter, but really, I like doing
chapter are you in?
one-to-ones.
We're in BNI Legacy Partners.
Is that which one's that? Is that
And
when?
we Sanford at Hollerbox on
Is
Thursdays.
How many people?
38, 39 maybe right now.
That's a big chapter. The one that meets at RDV is like 50 or something crazy like that.
Yeah, that's almost, I wouldn't say too big. It just depends on the structure and how it goes. So I think our chapter has really good structure,
Yeah.
and that helps.
It's
That's
on the
great.
same time as mine.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It's a good group. Get a sub and then visit. It's a good group.
Wait, when is it?
Thursday mornings at 7:15.
Yep. Same
Yep.
time as mine.
Yep. All right. So the next thing is that networking is only for high level executives.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. I mean, it's helped me so much when I just started.
Yeah.
Just starting my own business helped me tremendously get off the ground and like build momentum and all that.
I know Terry Mandigo. She's one of our sponsors. She sells CBD products, and she said at our chapter meeting last Thursday that a BNI accounts for 70% of all of her sales.
Yeah.
And girls making bank
Right.
too. I mean,
During the
she's-
refi boom, it was probably 50% of my pipeline at times.
Mhm,
So
yeah.
it was huge. But I also networking started helping me like grow my business. But it helped me talk about my business, like standing in front of people, talking. Every
Mm-hmm. It's
single
hard at
week. Like,
first.
yeah, it's like soul crushing at first.
Yeah.
But then you just get better at it, and now like I can easily talk about my business, no matter where I'm at, and I can do it a short conversation or like go into detail. But then it also helped me find out what people want to know about my business.
Right.
So I'm not spending time just blabbering on around about something that they
'cause
don't
there's
care
things
about.
There's things that you think are important, but in reality, but what we think is important is not necessarily what's important to everybody. The
Correct.
same thing was with radio. I listen to this on the radio, so some people are like, if I listen to this, this is what everybody listens to, and that is completely off the wall. We're almost out of time, but there's one other one too.
Okay.
That I thought of. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Mine was I thought that all groups were like cliques. Like
Okay.
I felt like if you went to a networking group as a newbie, you are not gonna be.
It's
help.
usually, yeah. I mean, you just got to find a good group.
Yeah.
It depends.
Yeah.
I've been a part of both.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we can talk about that more when we get back. But we're also going to talk with Derick Brown. So stay tuned because there's some stuff going on in the mortgage world, and we're going to talk all about it. So stay tuned.
Mortgages are next. That does sound like a lot of fun. You'll want to stay tuned in right now. You're listening to BaaD Radio on News Radio WFLA Orlando.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and this portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore. If you're ready for a girls' night out, check out their huge selection of lingerie, shoes, toys, games, love oils, clubwear, and so much more. You're not going to pay those high prices because you're going to go directly to the source. 5009 South OBT, or shop online at premiercouples.net, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
I do too. She's so good with the little buttons in there. All right.
Yep, that's my
It's in
job,
there.
to play with little
You're
Is that
buttons.
from Ferris Bueller's
good.
Day Off?
It
I like
is,
that. Okay.
yeah.
I'm waiting for the bow, 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 like for it to keep going.
I know. I love that movie. We tried to get the kids to watch it the other day, and they were just like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
It's
It's
like
too old.
classic.
I know. It's just things are different. Their
I know.
attention spans like this long
Yeah.
because they're used to getting their
And reels,
entertainment
and
in like
TikToks and reels.
short little things.
Mm-hmm.
Have them sit down. Aiden watched that Cocaine Bear. He thought that one was good.
Oh God. I haven't seen it. Is it really? It's about a cocaine bear. I
That's
don't-
a true story.
It's a true story. It's a little taken out of, context.
They
but
expanded on the true
That's
story.
it, right. They
but
stretched
there
a
was a
few
bear that
things.
found, like, I guess drugs were dropped out of an airplane, and the bear found it and gobbled up pounds of cocaine and went ballistic.
Oh, wow. Tom just said it was very gruesome. Like, it was like Gore City.
Oh God.
So, anyway.
Okay. All
So
right.
we digress. But okay, so we are here with Derick Brown, and the name of the company we work for is actually the mortgage firm, but he is a certified mortgage advisor, which he informed us during the break that means that he got some special education. Yeah.
Well, I'm a loan officer that went through a little bit more.
Well, you know what? If I'm going to, this is a huge investment. I want
A little bit more?
I want a lot more, to be honest with you. So what got you into this area? I mean, what is it called?
Mortgage lending?
Mortgage lending, home financing, whatever.
Yep. Those are all common terms. But unless you plan on paying cash for a house, you'd get somebody involved that helps you finance it. So
Curious, how many people actually pay cash for a house? What is the percentage? Like 5, 10?
I don't know. I've never really looked at like the percentage of cash buyers, and I'm sure it's very different like throughout the nation. So
Right.
but
I just can't imagine there's very many people that are,
Just all the investors.
True.
a lot of investors. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Blackstone and all that $1 billion corporation.
That leads me to another question later, but go ahead.
Okay.
What's got you into it?
Got me into it. I was working at a restaurant. My wife is a teacher, and we got married, and honeymoon phase was dwindling fast. Just, we didn't see each other because I was working late nights. She worked early mornings.
Actually, Tom and my husband and I did the same thing.
Yep. So I wanted to get into sales. I had a friend that was a loan partner at my company, the mortgage firm. So I got an interview, and they liked me, and then went from there.
Did you always like numbers, though?
Yeah, I was always good in math. I don't like, I don't know, science I was good in, but
Gotta look at
English. And I don't know, I was a good student, but I definitely, leaned more towards math. And then
Math, and then you have the social aspect, especially if you're in hospitality. You got to be able to deal with
Right.
people. If anybody's, have you worked a hospitality job?
Oh yeah, I waited tables a few different places, and I tell my daughter, she's 15. I'm like, you're gonna have to work waiting tables at some point.
Yeah,
It builds
Anna's
so much.
COV attending.
Yeah.
So she's learning a lot.
It helps
yeah,
so much.
you need to work in like a high stress environment for a little bit, and then also you need to know how to tip.
Yeah, exactly,
True.
exactly.
For real,
Once
though.
you get the experience of like this, you working your butt off and getting no tips, you're like,
$100 tab and you get $4.
oh yeah,
Okay.
you're like, I'm never doing this to anyone. This is
Well, I worked
awful.
at Church Street Station waiting on tables, and a lot of the Brits and the Canadians only tip 10%. But that's back when we were able, parties of 6 or more, we could add gratuity. I don't even know if that's a thing anymore.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
yeah.
Now it's like you
It
get the
is.
little thing and it gives you suggested tip 25%, 30%, 35%. I'm like, what the?
Oh yeah, it
They
jumps it up.
charge you for eggs, okay, and they also sometimes will put in for kitchen. Like all of a sudden you got $1.25 going to the kitchen crew.
What?
Are they not making enough?
Probably
No,
not.
They're
I don't
not.
know.
Yeah.
But anyways, good
Anyway.
mix. Like math,
Yep.
you have that background and like working with
Hospitality.
people. So,
Yeah,
all right.
I mean, I started working in our corporate office and then eventually went to the sales side. Then my wife and I, got pre-approved to buy a house. Went through that whole, pre-approval stage. It took a little bit longer. I wanted to increase my credit score and went through all that. And just doing that process, I realized like I could do this and probably do this well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when decided to get licensed, and everything's history
What
from
does
there.
that look like, getting a license?
It is the worst test I've ever taken.
Is
It
it?
has nothing to do with what I do on a regular basis.
Really?
It's
100%.
just like information retention. Like, can you?
It is all about the laws and regulations and CFPB
So it's like taking
and
something-
Regulation
it's
Z
like-
and
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's
But I meant, how do you, who teaches it? Do you have to go to like a 4-year university?
no. There's schools that you can find. It's an NMLS, so
Mm-hmm.
National Mortgage License. I don't even know what it stands for, but NMLS
You're
license.
like, I don't know what it's,
Yeah.
but that sounds
Mortgage
like
lender
me.
license.
Super important.
I'm not sure, but I know I got it.
No, but I mean, I'd rather take the SAT versus that test
Oh,
again.
okay.
Oh, okay.
So it just, but like the first time when I was sitting down taking it, the first 10 questions, I questioned whether or not I was taking the right test.
Oh,
Seriously?
really?
That's how foreign some
You're
of it
like,
was.
am I in the right room?
It's almost like designed to just make
Yeah.
you struggle. So
And how long ago was that? And do you also have to take continuing education
Yes.
as things? Okay.
yep. So 8 years ago is when I passed. And then every year you have to do an 8-hour CE course.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take a test, pass it, and then you retain your license. So
So this is one of the interesting things that I found out when I did my one-to-one with Derick after you referred him is I asked him if he was a broker.
I am not.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Isn't that crazy? Okay, so explain to everybody what you are. Because like I thought there was 2 different kind of mortgage people. You work for a bank or you're a broker. So it's like you either give just the loans that are offered with that bank or you shop for loans. So
Right. So my company, the mortgage firm, we're based out of here, Orlando, corporate offices in Altamont, but we're a direct lender. So we are similar to a bank in the sense that we use our own money to finance loans, and then we package them together, sell them onto the secondary market, get our money back, continue doing the same thing. So where a broker would find somebody to do the loan, we do it. Underwriting, processing, everything's done in-house.
So
I've
that
never
means
worked
that like
for a
when
broker,
so like when underwriting's like, what about this? What about this? Then they just you're on the same building, so you can actually talk to each other.
Pretty much, yeah.
You're not losing a whole day through email, kind of.
No, my underwriter is not in California. I'm not waiting for them to clock in and stuff like that. So
That's fantastic.
no, it's definitely a streamlined process for us. Open communication. I think the world of my company because of where they've helped me get to. But the communication
He's trying to say
and
something
everything,
really nice without sounding cheesy.
Yeah,
It's okay.
yeah.
You can sound
no,
cheesy.
but I'm obsessed with my company. But I mean, our underwriters. A lot of people think like, oh, they just see black and white, tunnel vision. And they won't listen to anything. And that's just not the case with us. Like they want to help us close more loans, but they want to do it the right way
Sure.
and make sure that we're documenting, but also to make sure that the buyer can qualify for the mortgage so they can pay their mortgage. You know, we don't want somebody buying a house that they can't afford and later goes into foreclosure and defaults on the mortgage. We don't want that. You know, so our underwriters are there to, help us
Protect
prevent that.
I have been in this scenario before where I swear the underwriter was just having a really bad day and just kept coming back over and over and over and over again. I mean, I think that they asked me what, like, I don't know, my birthday was like 10 times. And I was like, you're kidding me. You really want me to say it that many times?
It's a test.
It's a test.
I'm trying to catch you in a lie.
No, but that's what I've heard from other people that dealt with brokers, and they ask the same questions over and over, and I don't know why. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, I
But-
just think what happens is, well, this was the assumption that I got is that there was a different underwriter that was looking at it at a different day. You know what I mean? Like one day,
For some companies,
underwriter number 1 was looking at it and flagged all this stuff, and they came to me with these questions, and then it kind of everybody went home for the day. Day 2, second underwriter, not the same one, said, "Oh, well, what about all these?" That's the feeling that I got.
It's like miscommunication or poor
Or-
system
yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah, well, like I said, and it was a very long, drawn out process, and it wasn't exactly great. I felt bad, like for the banker, because I got super irritated.
I mean, there are times where we send something in to the underwriter, and then that brings more questions. Like if we submitted an updated bank statement, and the only reason we didn't have it before is because we were waiting for a certain period to pass, like July 30th or whatever is when the new statement comes out. So we got a new statement, but there was a deposit. Well, where did this deposit come from? That's going into the funds used to close. We need to know where it came from. But that's due to the Patriot Act. You have to
Yeah.
source all funds.
Ooh, I want to talk about the Patriot Act, but we're going to break right now. That's what that music means. And so stay tuned because I am very curious what that means, the Patriot. I'm actually curious about all the legal stuff he has to deal with. So stay tuned and we're going to talk more with Derick when we get back.
All right, a lot of people have been calling and texting, and they want to correct you. Multiple listing service. That's what MLS
there we
stands
go.
for. So now you know.
Well,
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back. And this portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Forge IT Consulting, providing a fully outsourced IT department with a personal touch for small business. No company is too small. ForgeITConsulting.com. All right, we are back with Derick Brown with the mortgage firm. And before break, we started to talk about a lot of, he said the Patriot Act, but I know that there's probably a whole lot of different legalities that you have to abide by. But what is the Patriot Act?
I believe it was George W. Bush that put it into action. But basically, we have to source all funds to prove that you're not a terrorist.
How?
So if you had just cash deposited, we can't use it for the purchase of a home. If we can't source the funds, you're not able to use it.
You got to move that. So there you go. Okay, so you can't buy a house with just cash unless you can prove where that cash came
Correct.
from. Because
Now, if it's normal business income, great. If it has a receipt or an invoice and this came from this person and that's where it came from, great. If you sold a car and you were paid in cash and it was $21,500 and we have a bill of sale, all the paperwork, and then you deposited $21,500, we're fine.
Huh.
But if you don't have any of that, then we can't use it.
That's crazy. I would never have even
No,
thought
me
about
either.
that. I know that, actually, it reminds me when I worked here, I had a client, his name was Fat Harry. He used to do all of the warp tours. And he came here once with a big chunk of cash, in a bag. It was all wadded up, and he kind of tossed it at me. And it was like $6,000. And I had to take it to Amscot, and I had to sign all stuff saying that I wasn't a drug dealer, that I wasn't a terrorist. And
Okay.
they even took my fingerprints so that I could actually convert it into a money order to pay for his radio schedule.
Interesting.
He said he was funny too. He's like, take it before I buy cocaine with it. And I was like, I don't even want to touch it.
We don't require fingerprinting, but yeah, just one of those things that we have to abide by.
Oh, what are some of the other laws? People say the whole Fannie Mae and all that other stuff, but I don't even understand what all that means. These are just different types of loans that people can qualify for.
Well, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac,
Are they the same thing?
no,
Okay.
but they're very similar. So government entities that allow investors to purchase mortgage loans, but bundled up into a security. So they turn it into a security. Like when we sell it to a Fannie Mae investor, we're selling multiple loans packaged together.
Okay.
So, and they regulate all that, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, to make sure that, we're not doing high cost loans. So I can't charge somebody 10 points for a lower interest rate in order to, help them qualify. There are certain things that,
Why do
envelop.
I have a bad taste in my mouth when it comes to people companies buying homes? Because I remember that happening in 2008 where investors bought up all these homes and then they just turned around and just sold them and made a ton of money. But then they ended up just crashing the market. Was I wrong? I mean, is that what happens?
I mean, so there were probably, I don't even know how many, but tons of homes that because of 2008 and the financial crisis and everything that happened, the housing crash.
Were you here at this time in Florida?
I mean, I was in Florida, but I was,
In junior high?
Little.
I was fresh out of high school.
Younger.
Yeah, Lake Mary High School, class of 05. So 3 years later, the housing crash happened. But I mean, it's just, there were, big investors that had billions of dollars that could afford to buy these properties and hold on to them, rent them out, and then later sell them for a profit. Otherwise we'd have a ton of bank-owned properties sitting there, not doing anything. So,
But did that hurt the person, people?
yeah,
the
but
families?
the lending that was going on back then was also fraudulent. That's what led to it.
Oh.
So, if you gave me a W-2 and
Right.
you had a $52,000 W-2 job, so you made $1,000 a week, I might put a zero in there, and you were making $10,000 a week. Well, you don't. But nobody verified anything, packaged up loans, sold them, and the next thing you know, you could not afford your mortgage anymore.
Yeah.
So there was predatory lending and everything, and that's all changed. There's so many laws and regulations now that, everything gets double verified. So it's just, we can't do that anymore, which is a good thing. We don't want that to happen again. It was
Right.
terrible.
Yeah. That's when we bought our house in 2004, And I know that they were like throwing money at us, like in 2004, 2005.
Right.
And we got calls all the time. Your house is worth this much, this much
Right.
now. You want to refi?
Right. And refinancing can be beneficial. It all depends.
Yeah. So what you're saying is the Freddie Mac, what is it again?
You're right.
Fannie Mae,
Yeah,
Freddie Mac. Yep.
Those are regulations to do what now? They're to
Like they hold everybody accountable.
Okay.
Let's say it that way.
Okay.
That's
I like
probably
that,
the
though.
easiest, simplest explanation. But they hold everybody accountable. They're the ones that make, different changes. Like, I don't even know how to word it because you're talking like they're all
Right.
the way up here.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out, like I said, how many different options there are for people that are buying that want to buy a house. That's really what I'm trying to figure out. Is like if I come to
A
you,
lot of different options.
I mean, are we talking 10 or are we talking about 200? I mean, like I said, I don't.
Potentially. I mean, but what are you like? It also depends on your credit score. So a mortgage loan is three things: credit, income, and assets.
Okay, I like
You
it.
have to have all three. If you don't have all three, let's just say you're lopsided on one. You have to outweigh that one with the others.
What would you say is an asset?
I was going to ask the same question.
Asset is typically how much money you have liquid for your down payment and closing costs. But then there's other assets that can add strength. So if you have a lot of money in retirement, I might want that account because I can show that you have assets. You could potentially, like if you have a car that's specifically worth a certain amount of money, that could be considered an asset. Home that you, like an investment property, could be considered an asset. So all of those are assets.
So
Stocks.
for first-time home buyers that don't have a lot of assets, then what happens?
Then you need enough to cover your down payment, closing costs, and then reserves. That's typically what we're looking for.
Okay.
There's a ton of down payment assistance programs. Hometown Heroes just changed. July 1st, they're coming out with no occupation requirements, so you no longer have to be so-called hometown hero, so police officer, nurse, firefighter, teacher. That's being opened up to all first-time home buyers that qualify.
What's
But
that program? It's just
You get 5% of the loan amount towards your down payment and closing costs.
very nice.
So some people say, well, why would we do that? You should have to save. I think it just bridges the gap for some people that are like trying to save. And if they can get into a house now and they can afford the payment, I would rather them do that now.
Well, I mean, I just like you said, because rent's so high that it's like getting into that house is what's gonna it's actually gonna save people money. They just have to get over that hump of coming up with that.
Correct.
with
And
the
sometimes
asset.
that's the hardest thing to overcome is saving up that money. I don't want somebody to like buy with 0% down, no money in the bank. That worries me.
Yeah.
I want somebody to show me the ability to save. But if I can help that happen sooner, I want to do that.
Do you help people with their credit scores too?
To an extent, yes. So there's just certain things that you can do to help raise your credit score. When I pull a credit report, it shows 3 credit scores from the 3 bureaus. And then right below that, it shows potential room for improvement. And from that, I can tell you whether or not there's some easy fixes to jump your credit up. Anything past that, I might look at referring like a credit repair specialist. I have somebody that focuses specifically on that.
That's cool that you have somebody that you can count on.
It just allows me to stay in my own lane.
Yeah, I again, credit was something that I never really understood the importance of until it got to that age where you're starting. I mean, because when I was younger, when Tom and I were younger, people would throw credit cards at us too, and then all of a sudden we have all this debt and
Yep.
trying to
Right.
figure it all out.
If you don't have anybody in your family to kind of teach you about it and kind of be cognizant of it, you're like, oh, free money.
My parents they just paid cash for everything. They're
Yeah.
they're like in their mid 70s. They're boomers.
Right.
They think the credit.
But they don't teach that stuff in high school. So then you go into college, and then next thing you know, you can get a credit card and you can spend $10,000.
Right.
Yeah,
And they do. Like, and it's
Right.
really bad. And then it's at a 25% interest rate, and it's going to take you forever to
yeah.
pay that back. So.
Right. Well, I'm actually talking to Anna about she's my 18-year-old about helping her get an investment property or just something that she can be the primary on, and I'll be the co-signer, and
Right.
then she can live there with her friends. You know what I mean? So that she can have that under her belt. You think this is a good idea?
I do. So it just depends. Make sure that she's responsible. But
She is. Yeah. That I can
yeah,
vouch for. I wouldn't co-sign
instead
for her.
of renting, this is where I kind of feel like I want her to be able to pay bills. So has she been paying any sort of bill?
Yes.
Okay. So she knows how to pay a bill.
Yes.
So then instead of renting, if she's, going to live in the home, and then possibly have a roommate to help offset that mortgage payment, and then you're there as the financial backer in case she can't pay, then yeah.
That seems more solid.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. All right, Anna, take note. All right, we're going to go to break. When we get back, I do want to talk about something that has been bothering me with some new legislation that has been passed. So this is a cliffhanger. So stay tuned to find out what it is when we get back.
Wow, I can't wait.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
This portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Ground Up Property Services. With rainy season around the corner, and actually it's here, I'm not going to need to change that part of the copy. You should ask about the water sensor so your lawn does not get too much water. And if you're buying a house, this is good information for realtors, as well as ask about the irrigation system inspection. And don't forget about the lawn painting service. If you're planning an outdoor event and you want to hide those brown spots, you need to call Ground Up at 407-648-4295. You can also reach them on groundupinc.net. So what's one of our sponsors? He does an irrigation system, because when people are buying houses, lots of times they don't even think about that, but it's a big part of it.
Oh, yeah. It can get expensive, too.
Yeah, we got burned when we bought our house with that. All right, so we are with Derick Brown with the mortgage firm. And before break, I said I left kind of with a cliffhanger. So what the news media said, and this is where like I got involved, is like I saw the clip that says, Biden administration, if you have a good credit score, you're going to get a worse interest rate. If you have a low credit score, you're going to get a better interest rate. And of course, the first thing it did is make me mad.
Yeah.
And I want to
that's
be
the whole
like,
point.
I bust my butt to keep my credit score where it needs to be, and then all of a sudden I'm going to get penalized for it. Whereas somebody who doesn't, that's the image that the media put out there. So
to get you to be upset.
Yeah, that's what and it worked. But I think it didn't work with just me. It worked with a good majority of the population, right?
Like half of America.
Right.
Yeah. I have never had so many either customers or realtors or like business partners reach out to me and ask like, what the heck is going on?
So tell us what the heck is going on.
Terrible timing, the way they kind of did this. But we're talking about loan level pricing adjustments. So LLPA, that's what we refer to it as. And when you have an interest rate, there is a bunch of plus and minuses that go into the cost of the rate. So, if you're above 700, you might get a little discount. If you're putting more money down, a little bit of a discount. So all those little things, plus minus, add up into the price of an interest rate. And that's what has changed.
Okay.
So what they did is they're trying to make housing more affordable for first-time home buyers. That was the goal. So with somebody with a lower credit score putting less down, there was an adjustment to the cost of their rate. So not necessarily the rate itself, but just the cost of it. While at the same time, they changed the cost of the rate for somebody that has a higher credit score and putting more money down. So it looks like they're taking from the rich and giving to the poor.
That's what it still kind of
just
sounds
terrible
like
timing that they did it at the same time, but they've done this like throughout the years. They just do pricing adjustments, and if it's helping the majority. And that's going to bother some people. I don't necessarily agree with it, but there's also nothing I can do about it.
Right.
But when you think about, like I have a little heat map here that shows like where it hurts the most is somebody with a 720 credit score putting between 15 to 20% down. There's been an adjustment of 0.75 to the pricing, which might result in like a difference in an eighth or a quarter in rate. So
and how much does that mean per month?
Right, but that also depends on the loan amount.
Okay.
And if I were to tell you that it's going to be a difference of $30, when I'm talking to a buyer that has a 720 credit score putting 20% down, and I tell them their mortgage payment, might go up $30, most of them probably won't even bat an eye. But this does help a lot of the people putting less down with a little bit lower credit score, give them better pricing on what their rate is. So theirs didn't get better. The cost of the rate got better. Their rate is still worse than the person with a higher credit score putting more money down.
But these are two totally separate entities, right? They're not. You're not robbing Peter to pay Paul. This is happening at this time, and this is happening this time. They're not taking.
Had they done it at two separate times, we probably wouldn't even.
People wouldn't even.
But do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because what it sounds like is they're taking, like you said, they're taking from this one to add this one, but they're not. They're adding to this one.
Right.
Just because they decided to add to this one.
What's the average down payment for a first-time home buyer across the nation?
5%.
6%.
Ah, close.
Close. You
Good
were
job.
really
Yeah,
close.
that's a really good guess.
That wasn't a guess.
You almost won.
Yeah, almost.
I thought it was 5%.
Okay, what's the average down payment for somebody selling a home and then buying, like a resale, but buying a new one?
I don't know.
13%.
Okay.
So if you consider across the nation, who's it helping the most? It's helping more people than it's hurting.
Right.
So I lean towards helping the majority.
Right.
You know, but this is we do
I
it all
get, but I know it's a media thing too because
the
like,
way they sold it was terrible. Like
Right.
for us.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, how many clicks did they get?
Right. Right.
So they did it right if they were getting clicks.
no, that's really what happened. And I mean, I think that this is something that's really important to be explained is that it's not, like I said, it's not taking from one to do the other. It's to help the majority. Now, why would they make it do the 720 above? Why did they decide to do that? I mean, at what point do they say, hey, you know what? We can squeeze another $30 a month out of them. Why would they do that? Why did they even mess with that?
I don't have that answer as far as why.
Yeah,
Just
cause
they did it.
Yeah,
And we're dealing with it now, and
Yeah.
rates are what they are. You know, we're just waiting for inflation to go down. Inflation seems to be going down. That's
Well, I know that for a while housing prices were like nice and low, and it's like it's a buyer's market, and then we switched. So interest rates were down in the 3s, and then
Yep.
they were up in the 7s. I mean, I know it all depends on like
it's
the
been
person.
a wild 2 years.
Yeah.
Right.
So where are we looking now? Okay. So say your person with 720 credit score, with $15,000 to put down on a $4,000 home. I mean, what kind of interest rate? I know that there's a lot more to it than that, but are we in the 7s still, or have we come down?
You're probably in the 7s, and if you're wanting into the 6s, you're probably going to pay points. There might be certain programs that, like the Hometown Heroes program, we don't charge points. You get a lower than market interest rate. So it really just depends. Are we talking about a VA loan, FHA loan, conventional? There's so many different options. So, I'm not here to like rate quote.
Yeah. No, I'm just curious because, like you said, they talk about buy now, buy now, but then it's like, don't buy now. Is it
But
now
why
a good
not
time?
buy now?
Well,
Why
like
wouldn't you
interest,
buy now?
The interest rates are so high is the one thing that I think a lot of people hesitate on.
And they are, but
Yeah.
eventually they should come down. So we've already seen inflation coming down when we look at the inflation reports. The headline numbers, not so much. So the Fed is still talking and doing everything that they're doing, but eventually it will come down and so will rates. So if you bought now, there's a good chance that you might be refinancing later.
Okay.
But if not, I always tell people buy now to buy now, not because you want to refinance later. Buy now. One of the things you can lock in, like you own your own home. Melissa, do you own a home?
Yeah.
Okay, so you both have homestead on your home?
Right.
Yes.
Okay. You locked in the value of the home according to the county, and you've locked in homestead. It cannot increase more than 3%. But if you wait 2 years and the value of your home goes up $50,000 and then you buy, your property taxes will now be based on $50,000 higher because you decided to wait, but rates got lower. But your house, like the value of the home increased.
Right.
So I'm a bigger fan of buying now. My mom bought a house when she was 30 something, but in 1986, the year before I was born. And it led to me, like I'm a product of generational wealth, they call it, and my mom at one point had some credit card debt. She refinanced. She used the equity in her home to help, get her out of debt a little bit. And then later on, she still owned her home. And when she passed away, I inherited it. I rented it out for a couple of years. My wife and I had passive income. It was great. And then eventually we wanted to buy land. So we sold my mom's house and we bought land cash. And we're currently building our dream home.
Nice.
You know-
I love that story. I mean, I think that buying, I know that us buying our home has made a huge difference in everything because we're using the equity in the home for the kids' college.
Right?
Yeah.
And if your mom would have been renting that, for instance, after she
What would
passed,
she have to show?
Yeah.
And she
you would
didn't have
nothing.
some crazy life insurance policy. She didn't have, this massive 401k that I inherited,
She had a
stocks and all
home.
that stuff.
Yeah.
No, she had a home.
Yeah.
That's it. But it set my wife and I up way differently than if she hadn't bought a home.
Right. No.
And that's one of the things too. People are like, well, I'm renting and I'm saving. But are you really saving?
I don't think so. Not with rent. Not with the cost of rent right now.
Throwing money away.
Right.
I totally agree with that. Why would people rent over buy? Just that down payment? You really think that that's the biggest thing?
Sometimes some people want to rent. So it depends on where they're renting. What they want, their lifestyle may not be able to afford,
Right.
paying. But also if you move a lot,
Yeah.
There's just
Flexibility.
different reasons where renting does make sense, but
That means that we are wrapping up, but we have about 45 seconds. So, Derick, give all your contact information out right now.
Derick Brown, you can go to askyourloanofficer.com. That's my website. Find all my contact information there.
And I'll get it to you as well, Melissa.
All right, and I am Melissa. You can find me at Striking Brand on all social media platforms.
All right, and I am Angela, and we're going to be back with another hour of BaaD Radio. So stay tuned.
Wow, that sounds like fun. Right after we check the top of the hour news, more BaaD Radio on News Radio WFLA Orlando.
You're listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo! My compliments, little lady.
Come on, shop.
Break for 30 seconds.
You are now listening to BaaD Radio.
Welcome back as we launch into the second hour of BaaD Radio. I'm going to run through all of the regular info for those of you who have just joined us. I am Angela Smarito, your host, and we have our producer, Melissa Fox.
Sorry, hang on. Busy. What?
She's a mess.
All right, got to blow it out now. Yes, that is our producer, everybody. Please, everybody, have a good time
Round
with
of
that.
applause.
Round of applause.
Puff, puff, pass. You're messing up the rotation.
All right, okay.
She's having too much fun.
Too much fun. All right, enough with the buttons. I'd also like to introduce our co-host and videographer, Michelle Jacob.
Michelle.
Melissa, look at her. Melissa Jacob with Striking Brand.
This is a hot mess
Way
right
to
now.
change her name. You want to start over? You sure?
No, I actually like it.
We're
I,
good.
I have the
Hi.
power.
I know. We're
Okay.
good. Let's let it roll.
Hi.
All right, Melissa.
Hello.
I was not the one taking the bong swats,
I know.
by the way.
I was going to say.
I didn't mess
secondhand.
So Melissa is our co-host and our videographer. So her business is called Striking Brand. But if you go to baadradio.com, you can see all of the previous episodes of BaaD Radio. And if you go to strikingbrand.com, then you can see all of her other work because, again, she is a photographer as well as a videographer.
Thank you.
Yes. And please join me in welcoming Siobhan Bonnie Patterson.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
And she is CEO and founder of Mind and Body Company. And I like the name. It's like Embody, E-M-B-O-D-Y.
Oh, okay. Cute.
So how did you come up with that name?
It took my whole life. No. Traditionally not good at picking out names, and I went through a series of tacky names like Body by Bonds for my fitness company, BaaD Academy, and they all represented the phases where I was at in life.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got to the point where I wanted to pivot and kind of switch gears with the business, one of the core tenets of what we do is about balancing masculine and feminine energy. And I noticed how I was able to master my mindset, if you will, when I would get more in my masculine energy, but how necessary it was for me to slow down and go within and be in flow. And I'm like, I thought about the yin and yang sign and how
Right.
we're all each. And I was like, this is what women need. Like, we're over here killing ourselves to do stuff. Oh, like ball busting and we're going to starve or we're going to work ourselves to death at home or in the gym. And I'm like, sis, you need flow. So that's where that came from. The mind represents the masculine and the embodiment represents the femininity.
So Angela already knows kind of what you do. Right? I have no idea.
I know. Kind of like it, though.
I know. So I'm like, tell me.
What is this?
What is this? Mysterious. What do you
Tell
do?
us all about you, darling.
So fun fact, this week I, as my friends say, broke the internet, well, my internet, and said, I'm done with coaching.
I saw that.
And everyone was like, what, is she okay? Is she having a meltdown? I was like, listen to what I'm saying. What we do and what I provide as a practitioner, as a healer, as a facilitator goes beyond the box of coaching. I've been a pastor. I've been a personal trainer, nutrition coach. We do a lot of breath work. We do a lot of human design and woo-woo. I teach women how to manifest. And I was like, I don't have a, here, if you work with me for 6 months, this is going to be your result package. That's not what I do. It's like, what is she going through? What does she need? And they get a customized experience with mind and body. And part of my journey has been trying to learning to trust my intuition and stick to this vision versus every man in my ear, like, well, that doesn't make sense. Well, this isn't like that. I'm like, well, it's not for you. It's not supposed to make sense for you. This is for women by women. Get out of my face.
I love her.
And I say you were a pastor before and you're a coach. So it just seems like your personality is one of trying to like help guide.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. That's why I was like, I don't have a problem with coaching. I think it's necessary and I love it. But in the online space, especially after the boom of 2020, when everyone became a coach after learning something for 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't want to be, it was very hard for me to find my women when I have coach in front of it because they think, oh, she immediately wants me to invest in her high ticket program and then is going to dump me when she's done. And that's another reason why I'm done with the coaching space. I like community. So, I've been really about facilitating, helping, leading, and guiding women versus just how can I make my business the most profitable and blow up on social media? And then I'm like, yeah, no, I don't care about that. That's going to happen inevitably. Impact first.
So what does that look like when you said community? Like you like to build community. What does that mean to you?
So what we're working towards right now is getting our app created because I have my fitness app that does fitness app stuff. But as I just mentioned, we do so much more. Like I create courses, master classes. We just released that we're going to do a retreat at the end of this year. And right now we're in a Facebook group like most people are. But I would run into people on TikTok or other places that are like, yeah, I don't do Facebook because of politics. And I'm like, wow, I'm missing a whole group of women just because they don't like Facebook. And so then we tried to move to a couple different apps that just weren't as, we're back at Facebook again because nothing seemed to be as fluid and most people are just there.
No, I feel the same way because like, I mean, for me, it's a lot at my age. So Facebook is one that makes the most sense for me. And for business purposes, like I don't deal with the political stuff on Facebook. If somebody posts their stuff, I mean, I either ignore it or I just, and that, you know what I mean? There's an unfollow button. I can still be friends with somebody.
Mute you.
Yeah, and I don't have to see their, you know what I mean? Like, because I'm very much into, like, I'm happy to do business with people that have different ideology than me.
Right.
I don't have no problem with that.
I just don't want it in my face all the time.
Yeah. But I've tried to branch out to Instagram and I just suck at it. I'm like, I can't see, like, if somebody sends me, like, wants to follow me, I'm like, what is that name? You know, little ... that go. I'm like, what does that even mean?
And then you can't find people because they change their names all the time. I was like, what is this place?
And my daughter's like, oh, that's just her spam account. You know what spam means to me? It's the junk folder in my email.
Oh, no, that's their account where they creep on people. Where they don't want you to know that they're watching your every move. I have a bunch of those.
Vince does.
I'm like, what are y'all doing?
I'm glad that I'm not alone because I was like, because Anna, I have an 18-year-old and a 16-year-old. My 18-year-old, she will always say, she's like, man, Facebook, man, I just don't get it. And I'm like, oh, Instagram, I just don't get it. So, but as far as networking goes, I found that Facebook has been very easy to maneuver.
Yeah, for everyone. Like everyone has Facebook, even if they don't like it or even if they don't use it. And when she's 18, like she'll be singing a different tune. I watch all my high school students.
Yeah,
actually, they're all there now.
She is 18 now, and she just launched her own business of CBD.
Oh my God.
Symphonic CBD, yes. And trust me, she has a Facebook.
She's on Facebook.
She gets it. Yep.
So you said you're doing retreats coming up. Are those local? Are those far? What are those like? What do we do? How long are they? So many questions.
All of them. So the first one that we have on the books is in October in Puerto Rico because I figured you don't need a passport for Puerto Rico and that will be easy for moms and my clients abroad to get to. In the immediate future, my mentor has been pushing me to do pop-up fitness events. And I was like, we're in Florida. So they're either going to be at like 6 a.m. before the sun has found us.
Or in October, November, December.
So you're talking about like getting a 10 by 10 booth space and doing events.
Yep. And just, like I've seen one of my friends do this at Crane's Roost. And I thought that was so cool. But I was hesitant to do it because I didn't want people to just think it's another fitness thing. But I kind of have to play. I'm learning to play the game a little bit. Like I'm not going to compromise everything, but I really want people to know it's a holistic experience, not just we're going to come, we're a weight loss company. And then you come in and you're thinking I'm going to tell you to starve yourself and work 6 days a week. And I'm like, no, actually eat more.
No, I do think event marketing is a fantastic idea. So that just put on the back burner. We'll talk about that a little bit more.
Word. Thank you for that.
No, it is. I mean, we can talk about it now. We're coming up to break in about a minute or so. But the thing about event marketing is that there are so many different events, and you can strategically place yourself at events that are your target market. They're like, I mean, if it's female driven, it's going to be a lot of the arts. You know what I mean? There are farmers markets. There's things that you can spend $100 and get a 10 by 10 space, and it's up to you. You meet these people, you shake their hands, you have a reason for them to come over to. It can be a corny reason for them to come over. You can have a spin the wheel thing. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Get a giveaway. Have somebody donate like a getaway, and then they sign up for it. They're all cheesy ways for people to meet you, shake your hand, and decide if they like you or not. And that is where you're selling yourself. And no radio commercial, no TikTok video or anything like that is more important, or it was like more effective than
Like
somebody
face-to-face.
shaking your hand.
Agreed.
So you can tell I feel passionate about that, but I've done a lot of event marketing in my day.
That's her deal.
So we're going to go to break. And when we get back, I actually want to backtrack a little bit and kind of start from the beginning.
Yeah.
So everybody stay tuned, and we'll be back with Siobhan Bonnie Patterson when we get back.
Sounds like fun. We're going to actually redo the first segment, so stand
So
by.
fun.
It's not really what's going to happen.
Oh, my God.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio. This portion of the show is brought to you by Rachel Roach Realtor, a Coldwell Banker Realtor. With a sea of realtors out there, choose the one that thinks about you first and not their commission. 407-252-4566. All right, so please join me again in welcoming Siobhan Bonnie Patterson, CEO of Mind and Body Company. Embody. I'm going to make sure I got that right.
Embody.
Okay, so before break, I said I wanted to rewind because, like I said, we kind of jumped right into like the thick of it. So what I was saying during the break was, okay, why are you here? What business are you in? Who are you? What do you do? And what's a good referral? So, like I said, this is what we're going to do. We're building Siobhan right now.
Oh, how precious. In a nutshell, you can view me as a personal coach. Did life and fitness coaching for years.
Okay, get a little bit closer there.
Life and fitness coaching. You guys got that?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
I think I got life and coaching something. Yeah.
Fitness.
Oh, fitness. Okay.
Fitness.
Okay.
Yes.
So did you start off with the fitness and then incorporate the life part into it?
When I didn't become a pastor and my world melted, I looked at what my skills were and how I could pick up the pieces of this. I knew how to preach. I knew how to storytell. I knew how to motivate people to change. So I was like, oh, I'll be a motivational speaker.
Did you have people in your family that were pastors before? Is that like, did you always think that you were going to do that? Like, what drew you to that?
I didn't know women were pastors.
That's a whole nother story. So my mother is actually a reverend. She doesn't have a church, but
That's cool.
She's an amazing speaker. Like she just flows. And she taught me how to trust myself when I speak.
Okay.
I got into ministry because I was a juvenile delinquent. I had my first kid at 14. I was in and out of jail, and I always found myself back at church.
Okay.
So I actually ran out of nursing school to go into ministry because I could feel I made the decision to go to nursing school. I'm a single mom. It made sense. Get something stable.
Right.
And something in my soul was like, I kept thinking of the missions trips that I'd go on and how I was serving. And I was like, I would do that for free.
Right.
I can't do this. Like my story is, I love nurses, hats off to them, but my story is too potent for me to be telling it in the hospital. So I left, like I snuck out and I left. Mind you, I had to fight for that because of my record. I had to fight to get into nursing school, and then I left. And I went into ministry because I thought if I could help a young kid not go through as much pain and turmoil as I did, then that's what I want to do. So I got into that. Soon learned that it's not as glamorous as it looks from the outside, especially for a woman with two different kids that look very different. So we know you've been with two different men. Oh God. And it didn't go the way I thought it would. And I fell into a deep depression where I wasn't even getting up to take care of my boys because, they're old enough. And I just kept remembering, like, this is where the woo-woo comes in. I could hear a little voice in the back of my head every day that I was drinking my second bottle of wine at night after work, and I'm playing the game on my phone. And it was like, you're wasting time. You're wasting time. And I was so mad at God. I was like, I gave it all up to do that. Like, I left nursing school to do this, and you left me. I'm not doing that again. I'll just keep waiting tables and drink my life away. It's fine. And that voice just kept getting so loud till one day I was like, well, what do you want?
You're like, shut up.
Yeah, literally, I'm like, I did the thing and it didn't work. What do you want me to do now? And I don't know. I just felt like I needed a win in my life. So obviously, wine weight appeared. So I was like, let's go back to the gym because I need a win because everything I've done up until now has just been a failure. Maybe I can win at this. And I went and I hired a trainer. Really didn't want to. She was the third one. I ghosted the first two because they were crazy. And she came and was like the woman that I needed in my life. She's like, hey, I see you here. You bought all these packages. You didn't use them. I'm going to reinstate them and I'm going to coach you, which was like divine because I had no money. And after working with her for a few months, I'm like, I'll find the money. I was like, this is insane. Like she's showing.
It was almost like your therapy.
Yeah, it was my therapy.
I find that when I'm healthy, that's when I'm my best.
Yes. Yes.
And I think that, like I said, it does work.
Your mind and body.
Very, very much in hand. And I know that for me personally, I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm 4 years sober. So I, like I said, so you're talking about stories and being able to tell people, like I have stories.
I bet.
I have a group called Pass the Buzz, and it's all women. Yeah. There's over 230 something women in there now. It's Pass the Buzz Sober Support Women. And I post my stories in there so people can read them and be like, nobody in a million years would have thought that I had let myself get to that point in my life. And so, and the thing is like, even watching me, a lot of people wouldn't even realize that that's what was going on in here.
Yes.
And so when I tell the stories, people are like, oh my God, really? Like you were going through that? Because I was working here at iHeart. I was mom, baseball mom, you know what I mean? Doing all the things, but deep down, I was like hiding the fact that I had like little soldiers, I used to call them, in my purse all the time, which were like the little vodkas. And so it's like being able to tell those stories and make that like something that people can follow. But when I got myself out of that, going to the gym and getting healthy made such a huge difference in my mental, just me. So yeah, I can see where that would be a great place to start. That was a lot to get to that one point, wasn't it? To that one point.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
We're storytelling. It's good.
Okay, so you got to the gym. You went with the trainer. The trainer, she basically
You vibed with her.
Yeah.
She what?
You vibed with her.
We vibed. She showed me, because I'm the pastor, I'm always looking at things with illustrations and how can I take this wisdom and take it into real life. And every workout was like a sermon to me. Like I would give up when I was tired and I was like, oh, that's cute. So you do this. How do you do this in your real life too? You always give up when it's hard. You always give up when it's uncomfortable. And these ideas just kept flowing. And next thing I know, I was getting every certification I could. I was like, well, I'm a life coach. I'm a fitness coach. And that's how that started.
That's really cool. And we had a coach on a couple weeks ago, and because I was very curious, because you see, like I noticed it when COVID came, is I saw a lot of coaches. I saw a lot of life coach and this coach and business coach, and you know what I mean? And I was always very skeptical. I'm like, what qualifies you to teach me or anybody in my networking spheres how to do business or how to do life? But she was able to clarify a lot, Jamie Sue, as far as like what kind of certifications that you need to get. So I didn't realize. I thought that anybody could just.
They do.
They
do.
Okay. So you're here to tell us that you have to be careful then.
You do. Like, there's no regulation in the online coaching space. There's no one to be like, there's no one to complain to if you have a bad experience.
Right.
Some coaches lost their dang minds. Like, I recommended a client to an art coach, and the lady wanted $5,000. And my client got into her program and was like, yeah, I actually get more from what you teach, Bonnie, and you're not even an art coach, so I'm going to stick with you. And I was like, okay. The lady wouldn't refund her.
Oh, no.
She's like, you signed a contract. I'm like, I referred this person to, have you lost your mind? Like, and I would see more and more of this, and that's what made me want to break out of, like, I'm not that. I am not that. Like, do I coach? Yes. But am I just out to harm the people that I say I want to serve? No.
Right. Well, in Business at a Distance, which is the Facebook group that the show is all about, I would always check out the people that would say that they're coaches.
Oh, Lord.
Because I didn't want anybody in my group to like fall under that and have that happen to them. So I was very parental
right.
with the people in business at a distance.
I'm in a
'cause I
screening
was-
process.
Yeah. I'm like, who are you? Why are you here? You
Why
know,
are you here?
What is your, what do you got going on? And how, like you said, how much is going to cost? Mm-hmm.
I like that you said who are you to tell me how to do business, because that's when I had that epiphany from doing more in-person networking. I'm the president of Winter Park Toastmasters, and
That's awesome.
That has been a journey. I'm the first person to succeed themselves, and I had to fight I don't know what language is here, but I fought really hard to be able to let me do that a second round, because they bulldozed me the first term as a woman and I wasn't having it.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've learned from being around that community of entrepreneurs, business owners, people whose businesses have lasted through multiple recessions. And then I got Jacob over here on Facebook who made his first 10K, and now he's a business coach. And I'm like, can you tell me how to pivot in my career? Do you know anything other than telling me how to post on social media, set up a Calendly, use Stripe, and then collect money? Because that's pretty much what they were asking people $5,000 for 3 months. And I was like, ugh.
No, that is like dead on.
And then what you were talking about is how to pivot in your career. That's like what you did in life, essentially. So
Over and over and over.
I love it.
Well, that music means we're going to break, but I want to talk about pivoting, because I think we've all done some pivoting here, haven't we?
Or need to. Yes.
So stay tuned, because we're going to talk more about business pivoting when we get back.
Pivot. You remember that from Friends?
I'm going to put the graphic.
Maybe you
I'll
do.
add it.
Be right back.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
And we are back, and this portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Liberty Property Inspections. Your home is one of your most important investments, so don't trust it to just anyone. LibertyPropertyInspections.net, helping you protect your investment. All right, we are here with Siobhan Bonnie Patterson, CEO and founder of Mind and Body Company, and we've been having a great conversation. And I kind of feel like we have so many different themes going on right now, and I kind of want to narrow it down into what we can do as a networking group to help you grow your business. And so, where are you at right now? What are you looking towards for the future?
So right now, our, I guess, flag. I don't know.
You gotta get closer to the mic, girl.
So right now, our bread and butter, if you will, of the business is our monthly subscriptions.
Okay. So what is that?
What does that include? It includes your workout plan that gets updated every single month, accountability check-in with myself and my coaching team.
How big is your team?
Yeah.
7. There's
Nice.
4 coaches, but like 7 of us total behind the scenes doing
Very
things.
nice. That's solid.
Yes, it was a blessing. So we do regular online fitness and nutrition coaching. I teach within my community all of the time. Like I just hop in live and give all kinds of nuggets. So it's basically life, fitness, and nutrition coaching, which is not what I've seen a lot of with fitness memberships.
No, not at all.
No, it's like, here's your plan, good luck. And like, we're a community. So that's what the Facebook group is for. And then we have the app as well. And that's why I want to build my own, because you need like 3 things, and that's annoying.
Well, I know for like a lot of fitness things, they like to say one size
It does not.
fit all. But then you have the program that says this is step 1. This is step 2.
And you're like, for who?
This is step 3. I'm like, how is that not one plan
Right.
fits all? Because it's
not customized.
This
it's
is the
same
same handout that I'm giving to you, that I'm giving to you, that I'm giving to you. There's no customizing it. But
Right.
So how was that one size fits all? I don't get it. So
And that's what I hated in the fitness space. I just didn't want women feeling like that. Like, oh, well, this is supposed to be a beginner's plan, but like, I can't do it. And so in the membership, the thing that makes us different than the other ones is that if you reach out to me like, hey, coach, I actually can't do this. Like, I'm not able to squat yet. I'm not there in my journey. Or, hey, I just injured myself. Like, well, go and update it. So it's not 100% customizable, because that would be one-on-one coaching, which we still do. But for the membership, you let us know each month, okay, I want to work on my back, or I want to work more on my glutes, or I want to work more on my stamina. And these are programs that I've written over the years, because I've written hundreds of fitness programs.
that's really cool.
So biggest
I know
issue
that
with
if I do like beginner's yoga and I can't do something, I'm
You're
like,
like-
oh my God, there's something wrong with me.
No, that's the whole point, is getting better.
I'm like, my arm doesn't go this way.
I
underneath here.
love yoga. I have a friend who was like, I keep trying to talk her into doing yoga, and she's like, I don't want to do it. I'm just not flexible. I'm like, that's the point.
Well, that's what I say,
You
beginner
go.
yoga, and I'm like still kind of struggling. I used to be flexible.
So
But-
that Facebook group, is that like so you're talking about community, do people like come there to like support each other in their own things, or is that like more like team members from you that are supporting all the members that are in the group? Or
So we have two. One of them is a public community, and that is just for everybody, and it's for women, mainly for their fitness journey, but we also cheer each other on for all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
We're women. That's what we do. And then there's the client community, which by far, I don't even like talking about the fitness and nutrition so much, because it's the community that everyone is like, this is what I stay here for. I just got a letter from one client yesterday, and she's like, I almost got evicted out of my house. Everything was going crazy. And she's like, being in this membership is what held me down, because I think about the things you guys say and how I watch you guys overcome things. And I'm like, this is why I do it.
And those testimonials are so incredibly important to the growth of your business. When you have somebody that's passionate and will say something like that, that's when you write it. That's when you make it into something. You turn it into something that people can read, that's tangible.
Yep.
I've sold radio advertising for the last 20 years, and when I could get my hands on a good testimonial, it would always make really good. I mean, I can hear a commercial and I can tell a phony testimonial from a real one. I
Right.
really can, even if it's a revoiced one.
Right.
But if the words are there, they're there.
you know what we've done in our BNI chapter? One of our chapter's members was going to do a testimonial for someone, and he was like, "Hey, I want to do this. Set up a video, set up a camera, and then shoot it, and we'll just make a reel out of it." It was such a smart idea. And then we had somebody come in today. We had our 10-minute presentation, and she brought someone in who made this like super compelling testimonial, and I'm like, oh, she should have set up a video. That would have been so perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, the testimonials, it's insane.
Yeah, no, it really is. I love testimonials. And that, I mean, like I said, even going back to like we were talking about the event marketing, having somebody there with you that has been through the program and is
Right.
able to kind of be that voice with you is super, super touching too. So like I said, I'm down with the testimonials, and nothing makes me feel better when I see even about the show, when somebody posts, hey, that was a super informational show. I like do a little happy dance, because I'm just like, that's what it was supposed to do. Or I find out that somebody got business from it. They did some networking and they got a big client from it. That is like my major happy dance, is when I find out people were able to connect and do business that way. Okay, so that's the biggest thing right now. So how do people find out? Where can they go to get,
To find out all the jazz.
Yeah.
So on Instagram, it's mindembody.fit.
Spell it, because I know.
Mind, and then EMBODY.fit. On TikTok, it's the same thing, except Mind and Body Fitness.
Okay.
And I always send people to my personal profile, because that's where you figure out how you want to work with me.
When I looked at your personal profile after you messaged me, and she was funny. She was like, "I'm creeping around in your stuff. Hope that's okay." But I think I told you that's how I met. Like she used to be our co-host, a really good friend of mine, Emily. And same with this, is like, we just know you have that chemistry. I see like a collage of like, they look like speaking events.
Yes. So I just did Wonder Woman in Tech in California. Just did that last week. And then earlier this year, I spoke at Activate. It's a fit conference in Canada. In June, I will be on a reality TV show for startup and entrepreneurs.
Nice. That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Where's that going to be?
It's going to be filmed in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It won't be aired till January. But
are these things you apply for? Do people search you out? I mean, how does all this stuff come about?
So with Activate, I got chosen. The training app that I use for my company is called Trainerize, and it's white labeled, and you can make it your own. And they invited me to do a segment on how I do it's like ethical business or something like that, because I'm always talking about being a good freaking coach. So they had me do a webinar on it, and to this day, I still have fitness coaches reach out to me like, yo, that really helped me shift my perspective in business. So from that, I believe it's a Canadian company, Trainerize. So from there, someone found me and was like, hey, will you speak at our conference? So that was the second year that I did the FIT conference. And then as far as Wonder Woman in Tech, I'm so big on mentorship. The mentor I'm with now is connected with the CEO of Wonder Woman in Tech. And I told her, I don't know, I'm not in STEM or STEAM at all. I'm super woo-woo and I like to work out. And I was like, but I did do a segment. I did a lunch and learn at Serendipity Labs on feminine leadership. I was like, I can talk about that and how to hold your own and not fall into this super toxic, capitalistic, run your body into the ground, it'll all pay off one day, like mindset that women get to not do and get to bring how we run things to the table. And that actually got me a lot of connections as well.
Have you ever heard of 100 Women Strong?
From you.
Huh? Did
From
I?
you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, because every time you say that, I think about, I went to this 100 Women Strong seminar, and they were talking about these just badass businesswomen that, like venture capital, you name it. But again, none of it was easy. It was like, it's like 3% of people that are in this are female in the whole United States or in North America or however it is. And for me, I didn't ever realize that there was such a huge difference.
There's 2% of venture capital goes to women and like less than 1% goes to women of color. So that's why I've been trying to get visible AF this year. So to answer your question, how did those things happen? I'm always on the search for people, for my ecosystem, because I still haven't found it.
Yeah, there was a lady that I'm going to introduce you to. I remember, because the thing is that you bring your idea to this board for the venture capital and it's a bunch of old white men. And you're just like, they're like, well, we don't understand.
Like, we don't
relate.
This?
Yeah.
Remember how you said you don't see it? And you're like, well, because you were not meant to see it.
It's not for you.
Right.
So we're going to go to break. We still have one more segment, right?
Yep.
All right, cool. Well, you know what? I want to talk a little bit more of venture capital and what we can do to grow her business. So stay tuned and we'll be back with the last segment of BaaD Radio.
Wow, yippee yo, yippee
That
yay.
reality show, people, women.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
And I want to give a huge thank you to our sponsor, Bolts Legal. They are No Storm with boltslegal.com, 33 tanning spa with locations in Altamont Springs and Longwood, Andrews Law PA, auto accident attorney, andrewslawpa.com, and Crazy Muscle Nutrition in Longwood, soon to be Castleberry. So Zach did a video the other day, and Tom showed it to me, and I was like, wow, it's 420 all over again for that boy, isn't it?
He's not shy from it.
No.
Yeah.
One of our show sponsors is this great business owner. His name is Zach, and he owns Crazy Muscle Nutrition. But he's also very 420 friendly.
We love that.
Yeah, and so when he came in here, we actually did a show with him on 420, and I was just like, man, I'm like, you need some toothpicks to get those eyes back up, son. But no, he's great. Like I said, and the funny thing is that he's super into fitness. He competes, and so he makes it all work.
Yep.
So I think that the whole idea that if you do this, you can't do this. If you are 420 friendly, then you can't be a fitness person, or you know what I mean. You're just. I think it's all
that's
just
crazy.
crap.
That's crazy talk.
Yeah, I know. Who's you talking about? All right. So, So where were we at our last segment? I know we were talking about the
Money.
venture capital. Okay. So are you still, like I said, with the venture capital? I just recently learned about venture capital, but I meant for you. Have you applied for it? Is that how it works?
So, yes, I'm learning more, and I don't know if this will help everyone. But what I'm learning is to really zero down on if you're a startup founder and you think that what you need is money right now. Yes, you do, but you need to prove that what you're doing works so that investors will want to invest in you. So if you're a startup founder and you're on that track that I was on, I want to drop this nugget with you. Focus on building your community and getting as many raving fans as you can, because it's so much easier to sell and make money from people that already believe in you versus trying to present it to someone who has no idea who the F you are. And when my mentor said that to me, I took a step back, looked at my business and looked at how I could serve my women better, not just how can I upgrade them or how can I get more money. I'm like, how can I make them so happy right now where they're at? Whether they upgrade, whether they never buy anything else, how can I make them as happy as can be? And doing that is what's helping growing the business, because then the testimonies come,
right,
and then everything flows. But as far as venture capital, we apply just about every day to different grants and different things for women, women of color, stuff like that. So yeah, you do have to search, but also ask yourself if you're willing to give up that much of your company for venture capital.
Is that how it works?
That's how that works.
I think of like Shark Tank.
Yes. They're like, we'll give you money, but we either
they get
get paid. You get to negotiate the terms, but if you're like me and I wasn't in the business space. I'm learning all this as I go.
Right.
And I'm so thankful that people saw me and are like, well, before you start saying yes to all these people, I've already given a portion of my company to my startup founding team, right? And so if I go looking for venture capital, they're going to want another chunk. And before I look up, I've got this little breadcrumb of my company that is my heart and soul. And I'm like, was it worth it? I would rather build it the way that it is, organically and naturally, because then I don't have to. They also get to tell you what you can and can't do. And I'm like, I don't have time for that.
No,
I spent my
heck
whole
no.
life trying to get out of a box. I'm not going to go back to one.
No. See, that's the way I feel about this show. I created it, and it's going to be
This is mine.
This is the way that I want it to be.
Yes.
And so, yeah, that's the way that I feel about the group. Is I've had a lot of people come in and try to tell me how they think I should do it, or I should charge for it, or I should do this with it, or I should do that with it. All these different ways to make money off of it, and I'm just like, no, this is the direction I want to go with it. And so far, I've been successful.
Exactly.
Now, has it been like super fast? No.
And you're okay with that.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at now. I've got the whole I'm not a coach thing is from everyone telling me, well, you need to do this. You need to monetize it this way. And
Isn't
don't
that
go
hard,
to LinkedIn.
though? Everybody's telling you what to do.
Everyone. And it's coming from a good place. It's coming from my friends who are in different sectors. They're in investing, they're in tech, and they're men. And they're like, well, if you just do this, it'll go faster, and it'll this, and you'll be rich tomorrow. And I'm like, my goal is, I know I'm going to win, so I'm not worried about the win. You get to calm down. Like, it took me a long time to get to this place where I can trust my intuition for them to come and do that. So I admire you that you're like, this is how I'm going to do it. And that's so powerful.
Right.
That kind of builds a better foundation too if you're going at a pace that you feel comfortable with rather than trying to rush things. And taking this advice that might, maybe in the short term make it go faster, but excuse me.
Yeah.
But if you're not like comfortable with it, it might like sweep your feet out from under you.
Yeah.
Been there.
Well, that's just it. Is like I want to make sure that we're doing it right before I start like throwing all the eggs in the basket. I want to make sure we're doing it right before I go out and solicit for a ton of sponsors. I take my sponsors slow, but this show is here because of the sponsors. That's it. Like we wouldn't have a show if we didn't have people supporting it. So initially, the sponsors had to do it based off of my relationship with them. Do they trust me? Yes. Do I want to make sure that I have a good product for them? Yes. And I'm going to do it slow. And I'm going to do it, you know what I mean, until it got better and better. And then we tweaked some stuff and we changed some stuff. We came up with some different ideas. And so now it's a 2-hour show and it's fully sponsored. And this is my business. So, this is how this works. But I mean, this is not my, like, I have a regular job. This is what I do, but they tie in together. So it's actually, and it's also a lot of fun. And then I get to meet people like you, and then Melissa and I can, like
Melissa Michelle.
Yeah. when I see her do business through here, like through the reels and stuff like that, that's where I do a happy dance too, because it's like I've created something that I can make money doing, but then also I'm giving somebody else an opportunity to make money. And then Melissa is in there making money too. You know what I mean? And so, and then my rep, she's making commission too. So I'm like, not only am I making money on this, I'm helping all these other people make money too. And that makes me happy.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure that's how you feel too when you see all the people you're helping.
That's exactly what I saw for Mind and Body. I'm like, well, I can give coaches a space where they're not vying for people on Instagram. I've got. We're creating another membership that's not fitness. That's because we've been getting a lot of asks about it. Like, so we talk about spirituality, divine feminine energy, ancient feminine practices that got put in a box as craziness. We're all about that.
I want to learn more about that.
That's what I was going to ask. So a lot of your business probably comes like people want to lose weight, get healthy, fitness, etc. But you have a whole this other side of it. So what does that look like?
It's funny. Our motto is they come for the weight loss and they stay for the life change.
I love it.
And so women come in as fitness clients, usually at the membership level, and some people stay there and it's perfect. And then some people are like, yo, I actually need more. And we're like, great, because behind this door is more. And you're like, well, I actually want more. And it's like, great, well, behind this door is more. So if you go on Instagram, you'll see mindandbody.fit. And then if you go to mindandbody.co, that's where all our woo-woo stuff is. And it's like a totally different brand, but it's the same brand. And that's something that's up and coming right now. I don't want to talk about it too much because the details aren't there, but that's a community that we're creating because some of our women have outgrown just the basic fitness stuff and the basic holistic stuff. And now they're like, I'm ready to dive in and unleash unleash the goddess within. And I'm like, I got you, girl. Right this way.
So it's about balance, right? Is that really, I mean, at the end of the day, it's for me, it's my peace.
Yes.
I have to have peace. And I didn't figure that out until, like I said, until I actually stopped drinking. That's what was my whole search was for mental peace. But balance. And so I'm very interested in the whole, what you talked about discovering like the masculine, like how you utilize it. You utilize your masculine side for certain things, like what? Like you said, your drive.
Well, working out for sure, organization and structure, because I am a butterfly and ADHD, and I will just if I get too flowy, stuff doesn't get done. So I gave myself a 10 before 10 list for the business. I'm like, all right, Bonnie, if you want to be lazy today, or you want to be butterfly, Pocahontas, sit by the lake, meditate, fine, but you have to do these 10 things every morning. And I'm like, okay. And then I get to go, dance around the house, doing reels, telling women to tap into their femininity.
All right. So we're at the 1 minute mark. So, okay. So let's give everybody all your contact information. We're going to put it like on social media too, but now's your chance just to spill it out.
Okay. Ladies, if you love what you heard today, check me out on the Boss Life with Bond podcast. I cover entrepreneurship, spirituality, motherhood, and everything in between. If you're on Instagram, it's at Siobhan Bonds. SIOBHANBONS. I would say just go there because that can take you to everything. Okay. I have a link in bio.
Awesome.
Okay, and then you can reach me, geez, my throat, at melissa@strikingbrand.com or social media platforms, words today. I'm just going to start over. You can find me at Striking Brand on all social media platforms.
And I am Angela. Thank you for spending your Sunday with us. And so you can find all the episodes of BaaD Radio on baadradio.com and join us next week for some more networking.
Wow, that was a great tease, don't you think? Stay here, come back next week because
networking.
We're networking. Good stuff. You've been listening to BaaD Radio.